Okay, welcome everyone. Yesterday was a new moon and it was the Chinese New Year. And I don't know, since, God, maybe 12 years ago, I really started acknowledging the Chinese New Year, mainly because I have this obsession with the moon and they go by the lunar calendar. So unlike the solar calendar, which makes January 1st the beginning of the year, Chinese New Year always goes with the second new moon of the year, being the onstart of their calendar year. And this used to be the way it was for everyone before the Roman Emperor changed it to a solar calendar. So if you've been feeling like, and I know we've all been feeling like January, good Lord, it lasted forever, right? It felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like there had been a turnover whatsoever. Like all the energy just chased us right into this year. I don't think anyone really got a good jump start to the year. So a lot of people do look at this time as being the actual onstart of the year. And some people look at the spring equinox as being really the onstart of the year, because when the spring hits, that's when we start to get motivated and get a little bit more, active. Anyway, every year there's a zodiac that goes along with the Chinese New Year. This year happens to be the water tiger. So with every animal of the zodiac, they also bring in an element. So the elements with the Chinese tradition is metal and wood, air, fire, and water. Okay. So to give you an example of how the zodiac kind of lines up with the energy of the year, I wanted to go back and share with you that 2020 was the year of the metal rat. And the rat, or the years that involve the rat, were typically full of change and disasters. Check. And then 2021 was the year of the metal ox. And the ox is really hardworking, and the ox is pretty stable, yet there's a lot of stuck energy that can come from an ox. So if you felt, and I felt this way, I felt like I was in a holding pattern last year. Everything I tried to get going last year, I just felt like, is anything going to take off? Is anything going to materialize? It's like you would take a step or two forward and then you go sliding backwards. Well, that's the energy of the ox. And also what I love about this that I failed to mention is when you look at the Chinese New Year and what it represents energetically for the year, it always inevitably lines up with the numerology and the astrology for that year, which are completely different sciences, which is pretty wild. So this year is the water tiger. So with it being the water tiger, think of a tiger as powerful and fierce. courageous, very protective. And it's very full of taking, very much about taking action. So this year, we can embrace the kind of element of the tiger and try to be confident and strong and figure out where we want to act and maybe take some risk in our action. They do say that this is said to be a lucky year, the year of the tiger. So lucky year for almost everyone, regardless of what your zodiac is. Yeah, I know, thank God. So embrace it. The unfortunate thing about this year, I want to say the good stuff first. The unfortunate thing is it's a water tiger. The good news about the water tiger is not a water rat, right? A rat would drown, right? We're talking about a drowned rat. Looks like a drowned rat, Well, a tiger can swim, and they're actually really good swimmers. And water has a way of being able to navigate around obstacles. And if you're a swimmer, you can survive the currents more than likely, right? So there will be challenges, there will be obstacles. We'll have to find our strength and courage to maneuver around those obstacles, and we can survive it if we pull up that strength and power from the inside. The unfortunate thing about it being water, and astrology is saying this too, there's going to be a huge amount of water affecting the planet this year. They're expecting a load more floods and a lot more like tsunamis and things like that, dealing with water. And the other unfortunate thing about the water tiger year is it usually brings up conflict, warlike conflict. Doesn't mean anybody's going to go to war. It just means there's that energy where it could potentially happen. And we're already seeing it. We're seeing China kind of tease Taiwan. We're seeing Russia pulling up to the borders of the Ukraine. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to erupt, but we're already seeing that taking place. So those are the couple of unfortunate things, but stay with the positive, stay with the fact that it's lucky and we can maneuver through the difficulties that we find ourselves in. So that's our inspiration for today's practice. We will be leading up to the tiger pose. So what we're going to start with is just reclining down on our backs. And once you come down to a supine position, I would suggest placing the hands on the belly. And spread the feet out a little bit wider than hip distance. That will help to promote more relaxation up through the legs. Close the lids of the eyes. And at first, I just want you to acknowledge your breath. You don't have to control it, just be aware of it. Perhaps just noticing how much air you're actually drawing in. If it's a little or a lot. Whether or not it feels shallow or deep. And again, without manipulating it, just notice. And then notice if it feels a little choppy, or is it relatively smooth? Notice the temperature of the breath. Is it warm? Cool? Notice the movement beneath your hands. When is the belly rising? When is it falling? Typically with our natural breath, it's easier to do when we're reclined, is the belly starts to expand and balloon on the inhale, and it deflates and retracts on the exhale. Now start to manage your breath, control your breath in a way that you're deepening the breath. And that may have already occurred when you placed your attention to it. Set your intention to move with your breath so that there is some fluidity in the practice. Let that fluidity tap you into this water element that's going to be carrying us through this year. And now on your next in breath, go ahead and slide the feet closer together. Point through your toes and inhale, circle the arms up overhead. Let the arms frame the face. Feel that extra upliftment you gain through your low back. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back in front of you and take a hold of your right knee and hug it in towards your belly and chest. Now we're going to do a little mini yoga flow to start with. So as you inhale, extend your right leg, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, alternate sides, and now pull the left knee into the belly and chest. Inhale, extend your limbs. And then exhale, other knee comes closer. Slow down your breath and elongate both the inhale and the exhale. So there's no rush. Allowing this to become a mindful, moving meditation. Remembering as we stretch out the low back and as we lubricate the hips, this section of the body correlates back to the element of water. Now, the next time you hug your left knee in, you'll remain here with the knee tucked in towards the chest. However, the hands are going to turn so they're linked together behind your thigh, and you're going to float the left foot in midair. Moving now into what we call Padangusthasana A. Now lengthen up through your right leg and flex through that ankle. Push down through the right thigh bone. Straighten out your left leg as best you can, and then test the waters here to see where your flexibility is. You may be able to bring the hands to the calf. You may be able to link the peace mudra around the big toe. And return to your breath, ensuring that you're not doing too much physically that prohibits the breath. Release any tension you might experience here. The legs typically are a little tighter earlier in the day. If your hand is holding the foot or the calf, please bring the hands back down to your thigh. We're going to walk up the tree here. So as you inhale, we're slowly going to walk the hands up the calf towards the ankle, lifting the head up towards the knee. No intention to touch. Then as we exhale, we travel the hands back down and recline. We're doing that again. Inhale, walking it up. Exhale, slowly taking it down. And do that one more round. Once the head reclines, lower the left leg and uplift your right. The hands can link behind your right leg. Power out through the left leg. Push down through your left thigh bone. Spread it open through the toes on each foot. Warming up the hamstrings here. And maybe sliding the hands up to the calf or linking the first two fingers around the big toe if that's available. Keep the breath rolling with consistency. Remembering the legs help to take us forward into action. That's what this year is about, taking bold risks, moving forward with action towards whatever endeavor we're seeking. The hand is further up the leg, bring it down to the thigh, and then we'll travel up the tree. So walk the hands up the back of the leg, scooping into the belly, the head lifts off the floor, and then we exhale, slowly walk it back down and release. Do that twice more in sync with your breath. Once you complete that, draw both knees in towards your chest, roll to one side of your body, push down to the top hand, and slowly come up to a tabletop position. So in our tabletop position today, check in with your knees. If you need extra padding, supply the blanket below. Once you stack yourself in tabletop position, apply pressure down through your palms, through your shins, through your ankles, and your feet, so that you feel your belly hugging in and the upper back feeling in between the shoulder blades. Then we're going to start to maneuver and open up flexibility in the spine. So as you inhale, let go of the firmness in the belly, allow it to sink. Push through your palms, open your heart, throat, cow tilt, Vipalasana. As you exhale, let the tailbone drop down, zip up through your midriff, bow your head, chin to chest, Mayurasana. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Continue performing these two poses in sync with your breath, allowing your inhale to open heart to create the saddle in the back. And allow your exhale to follow out the belly and chest and then pop up through the shoulder blades. There is an old, I believe it's Chinese proverb that says, you're only as young as the flexibility of your spine. So this is an area that we want to maintain flexibility in, for a sense of youthfulness and mobility. After this cat stretch, go ahead and return to tabletop position, making sure the belly feels firm because we're going to need it for the next pose. As you inhale, extend your right leg behind you. Try not to lift it any higher than the hip, otherwise it bows the back. Anchor down through your right hand, left shin, and slowly sail the left arm forward and out. Breathe. Gaze down for better balance. Gaze forward to challenge your balance. Exhale, release the hand and the knee. Draw the navel back in. Press back through your left foot. Turn the toes down towards the floor. When you're ready, alternate limbs stacking, alternate limbs extending. Remember, we hold the asanas, but not the breath. One last breath. And then gently land back down. Slide your hands just a baby step more forward of the shoulders to curl the toes to launch up into downward facing dog. Pressing down to the balls of the feet, pressing down to the palms of the hands, and shining up through the hips. Let your head bow between the upper arms. Gaze back towards the feet or beyond. Now calmness to radiate within and without. Feel and connect to your strength and power. Your inner tigress. And then slowly begin to travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat. When you fold in half to Uttanasana, press down to the four corners of the feet. Determine if it's better for you to have your legs straight or bent. Let your head bow. Collect at the crown of the head, the indwelling place of the moon. Think about drinking from the soma nectar, the nectar of the moon, during this time of lunation. New moons represent new beginnings. So reflect for a moment, what would you like to begin? And affirm internally, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back from these new beginnings, from taking action towards my goals, and taking bold risks for this year. Inhale, root to rise all the way up to the top. And when you come up to the top, your arms are framing the face. Your chin's parallel to the floor. You're looking straight ahead with your eyes. Your thighs are firming. And then exhale, begin to swan dive forward and down to your Uttanasana again. On your next inhalation, we're stepping the right foot back. And when you step the right foot back, the hands are going to walk to the inside of the left foot so that the left toes can spin to face the corner of the mat or the corner of the room. Your right foot plants down. You're lunging into your left knee. You're keeping the left thigh rolling open away from your waistline. Now I call this is Skandasana, a side lunge, but I call this crouching tiger when we move the hands down the mat towards the other foot. Now lunge the right knee, open out that thigh away from the waistline. Good, crouching tiger to the left. Crouching tiger to the right. Good, continue back and forth. I was listening to someone speak about the water tiger, and I loved what they said. They said this year is the time to embrace what makes you really and truly unique. To let go of any competitive nature, realizing there's abundance enough in the world for all. And this is the time to show your stripes. Think about a tiger has their own unique markings. Good, start to spin now to face the front of the mat. Ground your palms, step into plank. Plank is one of our strengthening poses. And then our indwelling strength stems from the core. So make sure your core stays locked in. As you exhale, we're going to drop the knees. We're going to flip the feet in towards the glutes, and we're going to come towards this variation of swan. And as we exhale, we're rocking back to extended child's pose. All right, we're going to vinyasa through this twice more. Inhale, bring the heels in, keep the hips up, bow the head back, and exhale, extended child's. Vinyasa through again. Flowing with your breath. Come back to that swan pose once more. But this time as you exhale, Bring the head to neutral, curl your toes under, and rock and roll over the toes, coming to downward facing dog. Open up the underside of your arms, open up the underside of your abdomen. Make your breath deep and smooth. Inhale, we're gonna bring that right foot all the way forward and up between the hands. We're gonna bring the hands to the inside of the right foot, turn the right toes to the corner of the mat or room, straighten out through your left leg, sink down thoroughly. And then from Skandasana to the right, we're gonna take crouching tiger to pass through center and move it over to the left. And then continue to move back and forth. So the number 6 in numerology is about this year, and it's nurturing and it's protective. It has a motherly, more feminine kind of quality. Well, that's also the nature of the tiger. And the tiger, the mother, keeps the cubs around for at least a year and a half, so that they are completely independent and capable of hunting and fending for themselves. The next time you come through to the top of the mat, go ahead and spin and spring the back foot forward, folding into self to Uttanasana. Consider any fears you need to shed in order to take action. This is the year. Inhale, root down to Sora. And exhale, bring hands to the heart. All right, we're going to continue to flow. Inhale, arms circle wide up. Exhale, flow down to your Uttanasana. Inhale, we're stepping back with the right foot again. But once you step way back, you're turning your feet so that they're parallel, walking the hands to the center of the legs. And you're folding down to Prasarita Padottanasana. Now equally press down to the mound of the big toes and pinky toes through the inner and outer heels. That way you're not collapsing in your inner or outer ankles. Lift through your kneecaps to contract your quadriceps. Folding forward is a great way to calm the nervous system. To keep the energy more low key. That's the energy of the new moon. Now, once you place your hands up to your waist or hips, let your shoulders roll back and your elbows pick up. This way, you're less dependent on your hands, and you can fire into your feet, ignite the work through your legs. Inhale, bring the trunk halfway up. Sink the hands down below the shoulders once your spine is extended. Thigh bones pushing back. Sternum reaching forward. Head lifted so you can even out that blood flow. Now bring the hands back around to front of the left foot. Right foot will re-step along with the left to your plank. From plank, shoulders, elbows, wrists aligned. Head stays up. Breath stays full. Exhale, bring the knees down. Flip your heels in. Inhale, swan. Exhale, extend child's pose. Keep the hands super glued to the mat. Continue this vinyasa. Inhale, moving through to your back bend. And exhaling to extend child's. In.
last one, but this time once you create that back bend, remember, instead of passing to child's, we'll curl the toes, neutralize the neck, and rock and roll over the feet, downward facing dog. Next inhale, right foot steps to the front. Then the hands will walk down the outseam of the mat. The feet will turn to be parallel. This time, hook the peace mudra around each big toe. Roll the arms away from your shins, bow your head. If you would like to go into your headstand or your headstand prep, you're more than welcome to do that here by bringing the hands down to shoulder distance apart, tipping the crown of the head to the floor, flying the heels up, and then you can scissor the legs into your headstand. Or you can do the prep and stack your knees on your elbows, keeping the toes pointed. This is another variation. Your arms have to squeeze in to create the shelf. If it's not in your practice, don't worry about it. It's going to give you a little fun time to play. When you're ready to scissor the legs down from headstand, or when you're ready to plant the feet from the prep, we'll all slowly lift the head and chest. Travel the hands forward again. Even out that blood flow so you're not lightheaded or dizzy. That can happen if we start moving too fast after an inversion. And then walk it on over to the top of the mat. Spring that back foot forward and lower and drop in. Nothing, no one on this earth can hold me down or back from taking my bold risk. Starting any new beginnings. On your next inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Urdhva Hastasana, and then exhale to Samasthiti. All right, we're doing another sense out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale, plank. Exhaling, knees, heels kick in. Inhale, drop the hips, open your foot. Swan, exhaling into your child's. And you know what to do from here. This is part of our repetition today. Great time to utilize that Ujjayi pranayama if that's in your practice. And on the fourth one, once we create the heart opener, we take the counter position of the downward facing dog. Now, when you arrive to downward facing dog, I want you to look at the proximity between the feet and slim it up if it's too wide. So there just should be a few inches, probably about 4 inches in between. And then inhale, lift your left leg up. And then go toward downward scorpion. So you're bending the top knee, dropping the heel towards the buttocks, swirling through the hips. And then unroll the hips, bring that shin and knee towards the top of the mat behind your hands. Slide your right leg long. Good. You're gonna fall. Now there's so many different variations here. And I want you to remember that your attire is about embracing and revealing and showing your own stripes. And so that can come into play when we want to express something differently than maybe what I'm suggesting. So there are ways of doing twist in pigeon, a side bend in pigeon. You can even do an upward pigeon instead of this passive form. And feel free just to take a rest here. Sweetly surrender. There's a steep energy on this left side. Now that you've had some time for a little self-inquiry, let's slowly start to come up. We'll reach back onto the palms. We'll curl the back toes under and return to downward facing dog. Feel that nice flush in your left hip. Feel that energy drain down to the leg. We'll inhale, lift the right leg. Bend the top leg, spin that right knee skyward, taking downward scorpion. And then unroll the hips, slide your shin just behind your hands. Take your left leg farther back behind. And then once you're set up properly, your knee feels good, then you can bow down, gravitating towards the earth. Unless, of course, you want to show your unique stripes and do something different. What I love about how astrology and the Chinese zodiac kind of come together and play together in the information. Astrology is saying during this time and through the month of February, a lot of divine feminine energy is going to be pouring in, and more justice is going to start to come in. And this is also the aspect of Durga and Kali. This year, there's a lot of twos, right? 2022. Pluto is returning to our natal chart of the United States to 2022. So this is a number that keeps showing up over and over again. And the nice thing about two is it represents people coming together. So there's been a lot of division, so hopefully more compassion will be rising this year to bring us back together into cooperation. And in Hindu mythology,
Durga and Kali ride a tiger. Sometimes it's depicted as a lion, but it was only the goddess that was able to slay the demon. It had to be a female. And all the male gods gave her all of their weaponry in order to win that battle. And even though she's depicted as being strong and fierce and kind of ruthless, she's actually considered the mother of compassion. She was being protective and just. And it's about the dissolution of any evil that's been ruling. So this year, astrology is saying a lot of the corruption that's happened behind the scenes will get revealed and be taken down. But let go of the fear. This is something you can shed here in this pose. Let go of any guilt or shame from your past. You did the best you could at that time. And the time is now. However we're feeling and whatever we're doing in the now will project us into the future. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and start to ascend up. We'll plant the palms and curl the back toes. We're going to end the Surya Namaskara by stepping back to downward facing dog. And then you can determine here, do you want to meditationally walk? Would you like to lunge, or would you like to float the feet together to the top of the mat? Folding in half to your Uttanasana. Notice the difference now compared to the very first Uttanasana you did today. And then inhale, root to rise up. And exhale, bring your hands to the prayer position of heart. You're gonna bring the heels off the floor. And we're gonna slowly, slowly, slowly descend to toe balance. Stretching out the feet. Finding a drishti point for the eyes. And then bring the hands down and your knees back to table. And then determine here, do I need that extra support or not? All right, we're gonna start building up towards our tiger pose. All right, so from here, we're first gonna do a little glute work. So you're gonna lift your right foot up and you're gonna flex it. All right, so as we inhale, we're pumping the foot higher so that you feel the right side of your buttocks really tighten up. Good, and then exhale, release. Good, continue that. Inhale, lift the foot, engage the glutes. Good, exhale, release. Continue that. Good, now draw the right hand nose towards each other, like a cat stretch back. Inhale, relift the right foot and lift the crown of your head. All right, so tiger pose is when we take the left hand around to find the right foot. It's almost like a bow pose. And then you're lifting the head, you're lifting the foot up. You're going in the back, you're balancing, you're breathing. This is tiger. Nice, now do a cat stretch back to counter. Inhale, relax the back. Lift the left foot up and flex the ankle. Pump it up, engage the glutes. Good, exhale, soften and release. Continue that, we're doing 5 rounds. Slower you go, the more you feel. You can even hold briefly at the top if you want a little more.
And then at the conclusion of the 5, draw the nose and the knee towards each other. Got that calf stretch back. Inhale, left foot lifts again, head lifts. Now see if you can balance, finding the foot, lifting it up. Exhale, knee and hand down, calf stretch. And because it's the new moon, I'm not planning on any fancy inversion today. So relax your back. Flip your left palm open, thread it up underneath your right arm. And then see if you can lift your right arm skyward. Pause here. Breathe here. Now loop that arm behind your back. Thread it across your sacrum. Good, bring your right hand before your face. Now stack onto your left shin, pick up your right leg, and flare the foot up and down. Reach to the padding of the foot, splay open through your toes. It actually helps to stabilize you. Good, exhale, return the right knee down, unwind from the twist. We'll take that same sequence to the other side. When you're ready, flip your right palm, thread the needle, sinking down towards the right side of your face. Now lift your left arm. Hold here, breathe here. Thread the arm now behind your low back. Inhale down. Shift the weight to your right shin. Flare the left leg out. Exhale, land your left knee. Unthread the arm. Find your bolster. We'll take the weight off the hands now. We're going to return to our back, and I would suggest trying to have the feet together on top of the bolster. If that's too much for your hips, you're just going to simply take the feet to the opposite side. So here, it's a little bit more sensation. Feet landing to the floor on the other side will be a little bit more restorative. So pick the one that you prefer right now. A tiger symbolizes not just strength and power and action, but leadership. A tiger symbolizes being supportive of others, being passionate, being devoted. I want you to consider gazing in and up into your mind's eye. And either picturing the tiger here,
or imagining a bigger and brighter future for yourself and the world. Hear the water rolling in the background music. And let the sound of that water help you to wash away that imagery you were just depicting in your mind's eye. Once you erase that from your thoughts, come to your breath. And feel the breath rolling up and down from your chest. Water is very cleansing and purifying. Feel as though it's washing over and cleansing any impurities away from your heart, your metaphysical heart, your spiritual heart. Gently begin to fold the knees together. Cradle the legs in towards your heart. We're going to change our position for Shavasana. So roll to one side of your body. Come to sit just long enough to take the bolster behind your back. This blanket you can use a couple different ways. You can need it as a pillow under your head, or if you want to roll it up and place it under your knees, or if you're already noticing a drop in your temperature, you can open it up, cover your body. Let's say more. Now you might even enjoy, if you were really loving that, you know, this is another position where, yeah, you can take your fun butterfly here as well. In the
your Shavasana today, I just want to remind you, even though I'm giving you a lot of information to be contemplative on it, this is the time where we let all that go. We let the muscular engagement go. We also let go of the thoughts rolling through the mind. Even though you may still have flashes, imagery or colors appear, try to let those go as well. One technique for getting there is just relaxing and listening to the music and let the music help you to arrive. Another way is just to follow the in and the outflow of the breath like we did at the very start of class. Just noticing, just watching, humming, observing.
Go ahead and begin to control the breath again. Keeping it right and live and then forth. Once you enhance your breath, begin to move your hands and your feet. Your legs are in reclined butterfly, draw the knees together. If your legs are extended, bend the knees. Separate your feet wide once the knees are bent and just rock the knees from one side to the other. Once you match that up, you can roll completely to one side. You can align yourself in a comfortable seat. Sitting upright with your eyes closed, just checking in. Sensing how you feel from the inside out. Bringing your hands to prayer positioning. This week we started our classes talking about bringing the magic back, seeing the awe and the wonder in the world around us. Today discussing the Chinese New Year, to embrace the qualities of the tiger, to embrace the qualities of water. Having a positive attitude that this will be a lucky year for us all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So much for being present. I hope you enjoyed it. I honestly did not know that pose was called tiger pose. I've never heard it called anything before. And I've been doing yoga over 20 years.
Wow.
And I just, with this lesson plan, I was like, I'm just gonna see, because I knew I'd call that one crouching tiger. That's just something I came up with. It's not a typical yoga thing. I was like, I'm just gonna see if there's a tiger pose, because sometimes in yoga kits, they'll rename the poses to something else, and then that's what showed up, and I'm like, I have no idea. Now we all know what the tiger pose is.
I think we should just stay and take naps.